So today we will discuss about the gonadotrophic hormones. Gonadotrophic means the hormones which are acting on the gonads. So especially they are all called as the gonadotrophins or gonadotrophic hormones, and these hormones are a family of protein hormones which act on gonads and promote their growth and ultimately the development. So the gonadotrophic hormones include anterior pituitary gonadotrophins, namely the FSH and LH. So two hormones are there. One is FSH and another one is LH. Then non-pituitary gonadotrophins, namely the HCG, or HCG is also expanded as human chorionic gonadotrophin and equine chorionic gonadotrophin, ECG or HCG. Both are the non-pituitary gonadotrophin. The LH is necessary for follicular maturation, estrogen secretion, and ovulation and luteinization in case of the females. Of course, the androgen production in case of the males is very much required. So the pituitary gonadotrophins, two gonadotrophins are there. As already it is told, the first one is FSH and another one is the luteinizing hormone. So in both male and female, FSH and LH are synthesized and secreted by gonadotrophic cells which are present in anterior pituitary. So there are varieties of the gonadotrophs type of the cells are there in the anterior pituitary, and these are going to be secreted. The FSH stimulates growth follicles in females and supports the spermatogenesis, especially in case of the males. So this is the diagrammatic representation how the GnRH is going to act on the ovary and brings about the biological action. So here we can see that there are three parts. One is the central nervous system, then it's the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary, and the endocrine cells are there. So here you can see that the internal and external environmental stimuli will release the GnRH, and the GnRH is going to act on the especially the ovaries. GnRH is going to act on not ovaries, indirectly it's going to act on ovaries, whereas the GnRH is going to act on these cells which release FSH and LH. There are two hormones, FSH and LH. So LH is going to act on the ovaries and ultimately going to release the ova, whereas the FSH is helpful in the gamete production, and also the steroid and peptide hormones like estrogen and progesterone, they need to be synthesized in the ovary, whereas the stimulus is also going to be happen in case of males, in which the GnRH is released and it is going to act on the male the reproductive organ, that's the testis. It's going to act on testis and the Sertoli cells. So the FSH, of course, it's going to testis, then the ovary, and such way it is going to help in the reproduction process. And coming to the chemistry part of the pituitary gonadotrophin, FSH and LH are relatively large glycoproteins, and both of these two contain two covalently bound structural subunits. That's the biological specificity depends on 5 subunit, that is distinct, and specific species refers binding specificity and determines biological activity. The alpha subunits are divided into each and to the other anterior pituitary glycoproteins like TSH and are similar between the mammalian species. So the different subunits of these hormones are like oscillated and are required for the full biological activity. So this hormone is having certain antagonists. They may be divided as partial or full antagonists. The FSH has molecular weight of 29,000 in case of pigs and 30,000 in case of sheep, and has a half-life of 2 to 4 hours. That is very short. The LH has molecular weight of 30,000 in sheep and cattle and contain 216 amino acids and has a half-life of 1 to 3 hours. The pituitary content of LH is highest in cattle, sheep and cats, and lowest in case of the horses. The overall size of the glycoproteins precludes economic synthetic production of these hormones. So the regulation and synthesis of both of this FSH and LH is positively regulated by the single hypothalamic releasing hormone called as the gonadotrophin releasing hormone GnRH, and it was also called as earlier FSH-LH releasing hormone or LHRH, but now it is very clearly it is called as GnRH. So it is difficult to explain how hypothalamus activates a divergent pattern of FSH and LH secretion through a single releasing hormone. So the gonadotrophins are negatively regulated by the feedback effects of the gonadal steroids, especially the progesterone and estrogen in females, especially testosterone in case of males. That means as the circulatory concentration of estrogen, progesterone and testosterone increase in the periphery, it gives a negative feedback message to the hypothalamus so that the further release of GnRH will not happen. That's called as the negative feedback mechanism. So the large concentrations of in the estrogen, circulatory concentration of estrogen inhibits the secretion of the both gonadotrophins, especially LH and FSH, whereas low estrogen concentrations stimulate the LH and FSH surges. It's called as the pre-ovulatory rise in estrogen level and stimulates LH and FSH secretions indirectly. Whereas another hormone that's called as the inhibin, a peptide produced in both ovaries and testes in response to FSH selectively suppress and the synthesis and secretion of the FSH with known effect on the LH. Whereas the dopaminergic dopamine, especially a neurotransmitter, releases only the LH, especially in case of some of the species of the animal. FSH secretion is also influenced by environmental conditions, changing season, daylight length, etc. So the release of FSH and LH are pulsatile in response, means in a recurrent manner it is going to be secreted, especially in case of females and males both. So in case of females, the secretion pattern of both of these hormones differ depending upon the different species, especially in case of bitches. LH is basal levels. It is secreted during anestrus and most proestrus and diestrus, but increases in both frequency and amplitude before the proestrus, and also before the ovulation the LH hormone will be drastically increased, whereas the FSH secretion, especially in case of bitches, is surges to maximal level before ovulation in concern with previously LH surge and remain relatively higher during the diestrus and pregnancy and also during the anestrus phase. So, whereas in case of the cats or the queens, LH release begins with minutes after the copulation. In case of cattle, FSH levels are pulsatile, but surges are observed on the day 17 and day 18 before the ovulation, and ovulatory LH surge occurs on the day of the estrus. Whereas in case of the horses, especially in case of mares, the gonadotrophin surge is less acute and consists of gradual rise in LH during estrus with maximum values being reached before the ovulation or post ovulation. So this is at the during the birth. What happens? Gonadotrophin levels are undetectable due to the inhibition of gonadal steroids provided by the placenta. So the both FSH and LH levels are very negligible during the birth, and they increase shortly after birth and remain elevated for few months. Then gradually they decrease and remain suppressed until the animal reaches the puberty. So this is the specialty of both the GnRH. During the puberty, GnRH secretion is initiated, thus triggering the secretion of LH and FSH. So unlike in case of cycling females, the levels of FSH and LH remain practically it is constant and at the lower level of, especially in case of the males. So the mechanism of action, how the both FSH and LH are mediated, especially there are very specific receptors, LH receptors and FSH receptors. And also the HCG receptors are also present on the cell surface of the target cells. So both of the FSH and LH are the G proteins coupled receptors which on activation increase the cyclic AMP production in the cell of the cytoplasm. So the enhanced cyclic AMP concentration causes the formation of cyclic AMP dependent PKC and it's a excitatory in nature and causes the phosphorylation and conversion of cholesterol to pregnenolone in the synthesis, especially synthesis. Whereas at very low concentration, the gonadotrophin receptors also cause stimulation of phospholipase C activity, resulting in increase in the breakdown of phosphatidyl inositol triphosphate and increased intracellular calcium occurs. Then the actions mediated by high concentrations of the gonadotrophins are still it is unclear how this is going to happen. Especially in case of ovaries, FH receptors are present only on granulosa cells, while LH receptors are widely distributed in the interstitial cells, thecal cells, pre-ovulatory granulosa cells, and also the luteal cells. So in testis, FSH receptor is expressed on the seminiferal cells, or they are also called as the Sertoli cells, while LH receptor is expressed on the interstitial, or it is called as the Leydig cell. So the LH receptors can also bind with human chorionic gonadotrophin, or it's called as the HCG, and they stimulate at molecular level. LH and HCG hormones are both are suppose equivalent, especially in case of cattle. Both of these hormones are used, and what we can say is both of these hormones can be used alternatively. That's one of the important thing to say. So the HCG is very commonly used in case of both uh, especially the veterinary and in case of human practice. And the physiological effect of these hormones is the primary physiological effect of the gonadotropins is the promotion of gametogenesis or the gonadal steroidal production. So, thus they control estrous cycle in case of females and testicular functions, especially in case of males. So coming to the ovaries, the action of these hormones is during the estrous cycle and it depends completely on FSH and LH secreted by anterior pituitary. Suppose a cow is in estrus means both of these hormones are acting. The overall actions of FSH and LH on ovaries are, of course, a little complex, but in general, FSH is responsible mainly for growth of follicles and synthesis of estrogen, whereas the LH induces ovulation and stimulates the progesterone production. Whereas the FSH, especially FSH, is the one FSH promotes the growth and development of several follicles by binding to the granulosa cells. Then it also activates the aromatase system in granulosa cells, which converts androgens to estrogens. So they are all interconvertible. So androgen in turn are synthesized de novo in the theca cells in response to LH and are made available to granulosa cells uh, via diffusion from the adjacent theca cells. So whereas the LH in females, the LH is responsible for final maturation and ovulation by binding to the thecal cells for developing follicles, especially in case of the females. So, what is the other role of the LH is the pre-ovulatory follicles or growth, estrogen and production increases, which through the positive feedback mechanism of the LH and FSH release, this causes a pre-ovulatory gonadotrophic surge. So, the LH surge causes the rupture of the follicle and ultimately it releases the ovum. So after ovulation, LH binds to granulosa cells and initiates the luteinization process so that the ovulated follicle forms the corpus luteum. So LH is also required for the proper development of the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum is the source of the progesterone for maintenance of the pregnancy. And corpus luteum can also be called as a transient endocrine gland. Transient means a temporary endocrine gland. So, the process of utilization change from estrogen to progesterone secretion by granulosa cells begins with onset of pre-ovulatory surge and it also accelerates with ovulation. So, in most domestic species, significant production of the progesterone by the CL begins within 24 hours of the ovulation. So, for most of domestic species, LH is important luteotropic hormone. In case of rodents, bitches, queens, and sheep, prolactin also act as the important luteotrophin. During the luteal phase of the estrous cycle, LH and FSH concentrations remain low due to the combined negative feedback effect of progesterone and also estrogen on the hypothalamic hypophyseal axis. hypophyseal axis. So the secretion of the LH, luteolytic agent or PGF2 alpha from uterine endometrium in non-pregnant large domestic animal is responsible for the progression or the regression of the corpus luteum and the decreased progesterone secretion, especially in case of the advanced pregnancy. So this initiates enhanced secretion of gonadotrophins and onset of the next follicular growth, and also the ovulation is very much concerned. Especially in case of the canines, spontaneous regression of corpus luteum and decline of progesterone, making the end of the digesters result in increased level of the prolactin, and this is causing the clinical signs of pseudopregnancy. You might have heard that the animals do suffer from the pseudopregnancy, and this is due to the reason for pseudopregnancy is spontaneous regression of corpus luteum and decline of progesterone, marking the end of digesters, and there is increased level of the prolactin, and this causes the clinical signs of the pseudopregnancy, especially in case of breaches. This is a very common problem, pseudopregnancy. So coming to the male reproductive organ, that is testis, the LH stimulates the de novo synthesis of the androgens, especially it is testosterone by interstitial cells. So in synergy with FSH and probably the prolactin also, and it is designated as the interstitial cell stimulating hormone. So the LH in case of males, it is called as ICSH or interstitial cell stimulating hormone. So please remember that the LH in case of the males, it is called as the ICSH, and the secreted testosterone is required for the especially the developed for the testosterone is very much required for the expression of secondary sexual characters and also the maintenance of the libido and secondary sexual characters. The FSH, on the other hand, is not involved in the gonadal steroidal production, but it is essential for normal sperm production. So, the FSH supports the spermatogenesis and has a trophic influence on seminiferous tubules. So, although the exact mechanism by which FSH promotes the spermatogenesis, it is not clear, but it probably acts by stimulating the serotonin cells to synthesize proteins and nutrients which is required for the maturing the sperms. So the serotonin cells also produce the androgens like testosterone, and they are also required for the proper reproductive process. One of the important hormone of the reproduction is the gonadotropin releasing hormone or GnRH. So please check that how to write this spelling: G capital, N small, R capital, and H capital. So this is a hypothalamic hormone that is responsible for the regulating or the synthesis of FSH and LH by the specific cells in anterior pituitary. Whereas the GnRH is a decapeptide with the same amino acid sequence in all the mammals, similar. So after the pulsatile release from hypothalamus, the GnRH traverses the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system and activate anterior pituitary gonadotrophin receptors, which are the members of a G protein coupled receptors. Then what happens? The binding of GnRH to its specific receptors. So it increases the extracellular calcium and also stimulates the formation of inositol triphosphate or IP3 that mobilizes once again the intracellular calcium and the diacyl glycerol. So in response to increased intracellular calcium and DAG, both calmodulin, protein kinase C are activated, which in turn stimulate the release of the LH and FSH from the anterior pituitary cells, and they are required for the synthesis of the new gonadotrophin. So after binding with that of the, especially in the anterior pituitary cells, the GnRH is rapidly inactivated and cleared through the body. So the GnRH is also secreting in pulsatile fashion and determines whether FSH or LH is secreted and the relative amount of each hormones. The gonadal steroids can negatively modulate GnRH secretion. However, it is discussed earlier, the estrogen can positively control the pre-ovulatory surge of the LH and FSH, especially in case of the females. So, although the pulsatile release of GnRH is required for the release and synthesis of LH and FSH, a continuous secretion of exogenous infusion of GnRH suppress the gonadotrophin secretion by desensitizing the gonadotrophins. Means if you administer the GnRH, what you call as the infusion pattern, then it may suppress the gonadotrophins. Especially many of the other hormones like the neural, metabolic and environmental factors, including norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, gamma aminobutyric acid or GABA, then glutamic acid, acetylcholine. So all these are the central neurotransmitter, whereas the melatonin and vasotocin, it is released by pineal gland, also have been reported to modulate the GnRH release indirectly. So the prolonged strenuous exercise or severe weight loss causes the inhibition of the GnRH release. Whereas there are non-pituitary gonadotrophins are also present, which originate from the sources other than pituitary and are called as the non-pituitary gonadotrophins or anterior pituitary like gonadotrophin hormones. So these are secreted by placenta and are responsible for the maintenance of the CL or pregnancy in some species, especially the non-pituitary gonadotrophins include the HCG and equine chorionic gonadotrophin, as it is already explained, HCG and the ECG. So coming to the human chorionic gonadotrophin or HCG. So this is also called as this chorionic gonadotrophin CG, or it's a complex glycoprotein excreted in the urine of women during the pregnancy. Only in case of the humans this is secreted, whereas in the other animals this HCG is not secreted. So it has a molecular weight of about 40,000 and consists of both alpha and p subunits, which are present in the pituitary gonadotrophins. So before implantation, it is secreted by the tropoblastic cells of the blastocysts, but after implantation, secretion of HCG comes from the syncytio tropoblasts of the placental chorion, and it can be detected in pregnant woman plasma and urine as early as 8 days after fertilization of an ovum and maintained during the gestation and delivery. That's why the human pregnancy, it is very easy to develop or diagnosis, whereas the HCG or the chorionic gonadotropins are not secreted by the placenta of the animals. That's why it's very easy to diagnose the human pregnancy with the presence of HCG. So the veterinary medicine, the Corilon is available as the human chorionic gonadotropins. So 1500 international units are available, and it will be very useful in conception of, especially in case of the repeat breeding cattle. So the HCG has a potent LH-like effect, and it specifically binds with the LH receptors with equal avidity and maintains the corpus luteum of pregnancy and promotes the secretion of estrogen and progesterone by the corpus luteum. So it also exerts the interstitial cell stimulating effect of the fetal testis, thus resulting in production of testosterone in male fetus until the time of the birth. That means in male fetus, the capacity of production of testosterone is not present, whereas the ICSH or the LH, especially on the fetal testis, it's going to act and production of testosterone will be done. The physiological action of HCG is indistinguishable from that of the LH, means both the actions of HCG and LH are same. So the half-life of this HCG is 12 to 24 hours, and levels of HCG may be measured in the blood or urine, mainly as pregnancy test, especially in case of the human beings intended to indicate the presence or absence of the implanted embryo. So, as and when the embryo implants, especially in case of the human beings, so it can be diagnosed very, very early within 1 month of the pregnancy using the pregnancy test kits. So it is based on the presence of HCG in the urine of a pregnant woman. So testing HCG may be done when diagnosing or monitoring germ cell tumors or the gestational tropoblastic diseases. Apart from this one, the HCG is very commonly used, and it is administered exogenously, especially in case of the cattle for the proper conception and maintenance of the pregnancy. Then the non-pituitary hormone or non-pituitary hormone, which is involved in the reproduction process, especially in case of the horses, equine chorionic gonadotropin, or it's also called as ECG. So it was previously called as pregnant mare serum gonadotropin or PMSG. Now it is called as the ECG. It is a complex glycoprotein hormone produced by the endometrial cuffs of the pregnant mare uterus. So this is produced from the pregnant mare's uterus. And it has a molecular weight of 62,000 and possesses both alpha and B subunits and is very similar in composition to LH and also the FSH. It is present in the pregnant mare from day 20 to day 150 of pregnancy with weak concentration on the 80th day, especially the pregnant mare serum gonadotropin or equine serum gonadotropin or equine chorionic gonadotropin is responsible mainly for the maintenance of corpus luteum, especially in case of the mare. The effect of ECG are very similar to that of both LH and the FSH secreted by the anterior pituitary. It has a half-life of the 2 to 5 days usually and does not pass through the renal filter and remains in the circulation, especially the ECG, or it's also known as PMSG. What happens especially in case of deficiency of the gonadotropin or also in case of excess of gonadotropin? So in case of the deficiency of the gonadotropins, disturbance of these gonadotropins from pituitary may be responsible for delayed puberty in both males and females. Whereas in case of both male and females, a low or undetectable level of LH and FSH are indicative of hypogonadotropic hypogonadism, and this occurs due to the hypothalamic disease of the pituitary failure. So in females, deficiency of FSH results in improper follicular growth and also the ovulation. So what happens is whenever there is an inadequate secretion of LH by pituitary may be led to the ovulation failure or delayed ovulation, which often results in the reduced conception rates or the unproductivity or infertility in case of the animals. So, especially in case of human beings, inadequate gonadotropins concentration result in the amenorrhea and sterility, whereas in case of males, deficiency of the gonadotropin decreases the libido and cause oligospermia and infertility. So this need to be remembered. What happens if the gonadotropins are in excess? So excess of gonadotropins may result in precocious puberty in both the sexes, males and females. So whereas the another thing what happens is ovarian hyperstimulation, superovulation and polycystic ovary may be observed in case of the females. Whereas the polycystic ovaries develop when ovaries are stimulated to produce excessive amounts of the male hormones, especially the androgens. So, whereas the unstable internet, there is a problem. The excess of gonadotropin case is, of course, it's a rare phenomenon, whereas the decrease in the gonadotropins is a very common phenomenon. So what happens? Excess of gonadotropins occurs. The polycystic ovaries develop when ovaries are stimulated to produce excessive amounts of the male hormones and especially the androgens. Yes, androgens are the male hormones, particularly the testosterone, either through the release of excessive luteinization hormone and or for the anterior pituitary gland or through high levels of insulin in the blood. So these are also going to be caused. So what is the treatment for gonadotropin disorders, either may be excess or they decrease. So drugs are available for the treatment of both gonadotrophin deficiency and also in case of the excess. And these drugs are very widely used in the treatment of various reproductive disorders, especially then cancers or also the synchronization of the estrus. So in veterinary practice, this is very commonly used, synchronization of estrus. Synchronization means making all animals to come to the estrus at a given day or time for the augmented reproductive performance. So the classification of the drugs to treat gonadotrophin disorders have been broadly classified into two classes. One is the drugs used in deficiency of gonadotrophins, and the second is the drugs used in excess of gonadotrophin. Of course, the second one is somehow rare, whereas the first one is a very common thing, especially in case of the cattle. So, among these drugs used in deficiency of gonadotrophins, like the first one is gonadotrophin and analogs. So, the pituitary gonadotrophins are the FSH hormone and also the LH and menotropin and urophilotropin. These are the pituitary gonadotrophin. Whereas the non-pituitary gonadotrophin, usually in case of humans, the HCG, and in case of the horses, especially mares, it is the HEG or ECG, equine gonadotropin hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone receptor agonists. The very common example and very commonly used drug in field condition is buserelin, then leuprolin, goserelin, deserelin, and the many of such analogs are there. So there are varieties of the drugs, gonadotropin releasing hormone antagonists. So the examples of these are the ganirelix, degarelix, abrarelix, etc. So these are very commonly used hormones, analogs. So the drugs used in case of the gonadotrophin deficiency are the gonadotrophin and analogs, maybe FSH analog, LH analog, or the GnRH analogs. They are very commercially available as pituitary gonadotrophins and non-pituitary chorionic gonadotrophins. In veterinary medicine, these chorionic gonadotrophins are used very frequently than the cadaver pituitary because of their easier availability and lowest cost. So cost is also not high. Then the preparations of LH and FSH derived from pituitaries are also no longer used in case of human medicine because the possible contamination with virus and due to the shortage of the material. That means synthetically these hormones are being prepared nowadays when compared to the earlier ages, because the naturally occurring pituitary extract will have certain virus which causes a disease, especially in case of the animals. And pituitary gonadotrophins like FSH, it's having the FSH is available commercially for the use, especially in case of the veterinary species. It is very commonly used. So this is obtained from pituitary gland of the food producing animals, and additionally purified human FSH is also available. So the porcine or ovine follicle stimulating hormone is widely used in case of the livestock industry for superovulation, especially in case of the cattle. whenever we are doing the embryo transfer technology, then we do require lot of ova. Means the cows are single ovulators. So if you administer the FSH, then multiple follicles will develop and we can harvest the multiple ova for the in vitro fertilization technique. So the FSH is available as the lyophilized powder which needs reconstitution before use. It needs to be stored in the cool temperature. So coming to the chemistry of the FSH, so it is secreted from the pituitary and is obtained from the cadaver pituitary, hence contain essentially the same chemical structure as synthesized in case of the body. So the FSHP may also have amounts of the luteinizing hormone, and 1 milligram of FSHP has been attributed to 1 armor unit. So 1 armor unit can contain 9.4 to 14.2 international units of the FSH. So please see the expression of FSH is in case of IU or the armor unit. The mechanism of action and pharmacological effects of FSH are similar to those of the FSH produced by the anterior pituitary naturally. Then it should stimulate multiple follicle growth in case of ovaries and estrogen production, especially in case of the females. In case of males, it's also going to increase the concentration of sperms or spermatogenesis, and if androgen production by Leydig cell has already, it should occur. Coming to the pharmacokinetic, it has, especially FSH, the pharmacokinetic data is very less, especially in case of the domestic animals. So it has a very short half-life of the 2 to 4 hours and is generally given subcutaneously, and depending on dose may elevate the plasma FSH concentrations. So whenever you administer the FSH exogenously, in case of the veterinary, it is available as the injection Foligon. It's containing 1000 units per vial Foligon. So administration of this drug, that's subcutaneously to the animal, make them to come to the estrus. So there are little the side effects are there, and it causes the endometrial hyperplasia, undesirable superovulation, and follicular cyst is caused by the excess of the FSH. So the repeated dose of porcine FSHP means porcine in cattle may lead to immune-mediated reduced effects and occasional anaphylactic reactions. That's also very commonly occurs. So contraindications and precautions. The FSH from porcine origin should not be used in case of animals with pre-existing endometrial hyperplasia or the follicular cysts. Yes, this is a very common thing, follicular cyst, and it should be used only when it is required, and inadvertent use of FSHP should be avoided because it causes lot of adverse reactions. The clinical uses, the FSH is used in veterinary medicine mainly to induce superovulation in cattle and for the purpose of out-of-season breeding in other species. So we require the superovulation, especially the embryonic transfer technology. We require more and more ova. Then at that time also we are going to inject the FSH and harvest. It's called as the harvesting. the collection of ovum is called as the harvesting. And presently, the clinical use of the FSH in veterinary practice is declined because it is not freely available and also it is very, very expensive. So the dose of this particular thing for the super ovulation is 25 international units IM 2 times daily for 3 days in the luteal phase. So dose of for the induction of estrus, especially the 20 international units per kg. So 20 international units per kg daily for 10 days it is required for the induction of estrus. So pro-estrus usually occurs between 7 to 10 and lasts to 2 to 3 days. And animal is given HCG 500 international units subcutaneous on days 10 and 11, and breeding is done on the subsequent days like 12, 4 and 16. Whereas in case of cats also the drug can be FSH can also be used. So in case of the deficiency of FSH in certain animal, it occurs. The dogs 5 to 15 milligram total dose is given IM, IV or subcutaneously, whereas the cattle, the dose is very similar, that's 10 to 50 milligram. Total dose is administered as IV, IM or subcutaneous. The sheep and pigs, the dosage is 5 to 25 milligram. Then the next one is the LH, luteinizing hormone, or also called as LHP. So the luteinizing hormone P is available from the domestic animal pituitary gland and is less frequently used in case of the veterinary practice, whereas the synthetic LH is very commonly used. Especially this is used in case of females to control ovulation and to treat persistent infertility, whereas in case of males, this is used to treat cryptorchidism. So you know what is a cryptorchidism? Descend not, the testes will not descend from the abdominal cavity into the scrotal sac. So in males, it increases the testosterone production that causes the descent of testes into the scrotum. So it may or may not commercially available, especially in case of humans, but veterinary practice it is very commonly used. The HMG, the menotropin, is called as human menopausal gonadotropin or HMG, and this is obtained from the urine of postmenopausal women, and contains both follicle stimulating hormone and the LH. So apart from this one, it also contains the HCG. So it's a combination of all the three, FSH, LH and HCG. And this drug is originally defined for the use in women, where it stimulates ovaries to produce multiple follicles, thus making them the fertile. So it is occasionally used in case of the veterinary medicine, mainly for induction of superovulation, and it has both follicle stimulating hormone, this activity, and LH activities. The urofolitropin is menotropin preparation. Yes, it's which the LH and other proteins has been removed. Therefore, the uropolytrophin is primarily a purified form of LH. So, especially in case of human medicine, uropolytrophin is preferred over the combined FSH and LH preparations for induction of ovulation in case of women with polycystic ovarian diseases, because such patients have elevated LH-FS ratio. That's why the uropolytropin is used. This hormone is administered subcutaneously in combination with the HCG to assist in ovulation and in vitro fertilization. So this hormone is used in vitro fertilization method, and important side effects include mild diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, and also some constipation and shortness of the breath. So the non-pituitary gonadotrophins are the widely used in case of human and veterinary medicines and have virtually replaced the pituitary gonadotrophin. Especially the non-pituitary gonadotrophins are cheap, available and effective through the clinically in case of the various uses. So the hormone HCG, it's also called as HCG, chorionic gonadotrophin pregnancy urine hormone, and it's a glycoprotein hormone secreted by the placenta and obtained from the urine of the pregnant woman. So it is commercially available as a white amorphous lyophilized powder which is soluble in water and insoluble, especially in case of the alcohol. And 1 milligram of HCG contains 1,500 international units, and the hormone is chemically different from the pituitary LH, but its activity is very similar to that of LH, luteinizing hormone. So some of the effects are also similar to that of the FSH. Coming to the pharmacological effect, the HCG is similar effects to luteinizing hormone secreted by the anterior pituitary in both male and female animals. It occupies the LH receptors present in gonads and mimics closely to that of the LH or the ICSH. In case of females, HCG stimulates Cl, corpus luteum, to produce progesterone and can induce ovulation, possibly also in patients with the cystic ovarian condition. It's a very common condition. In case of bitches, the HCG induces estrogen secretions. In case of males, HCG also stimulates the secretion of the testosterone by interstitial testicular cells. Therefore, it increases the secretion of testosterone by the interstitial testicular cells. So, because of this thing, the libido, especially in case of the males, is increases and may also stimulate testicular descent when there is no anatomical or the obstacles. So the pharmacokinetic, in 1 or 2 words, I am going to finish this thing. The HCG is a polypeptide hormone, hence it's rapidly destroyed in GI tract if it is given orally. And most of these hormones are administered parenterally. After IM administration, it is distributed mainly to the ovaries in case of females and to the testes in case of the males. And peak plasma levels are achieved at about 6 hours. It has a half-life of 12 to 24 hours in different species. The side effects are the hypersensitivity reactions are very common and pain at the site of injection. So sometimes the anaphylactic reaction may also occur. Contraindications, sometimes whenever there is a allergy, then we should not use. In case of veterinary medicine, it is used to supplement or replace the LH hormone in case of the ovulation failure, and to delay the health predict timing, especially in case of ovulations. So the clinical use of this drug in case of cattle, it is used in case of nymphomania due to the follicular cysts. So in male animals, it is used to improve the libido with variable results and to help descent of the testes, and also to avoid the cryptorchidism. So the human So the human chorionic gonadotrophin is HCG, is used as diagnostic tool to identify various sexual disorders in both males and females. Whereas in case of males, HCG challenge test is used to identify the presence of retained testes. Once again, it's a cryptorchidism. So the use of these hormones in diagnostic tests also, it is used to determine the function of ovarian tissue and ovariohysterectomy after ovarian. In case of females, we suspect sexual differentiation order. Testosterone level is taken as indicator, whereas the elevation of progesterone level indicates functional ovarian disorder. So the dose is as usual, which is 100 to 500 units and 2000 to 50 units. And the, as mentioned here, especially in case of cattle, the 3000 international units is always, it is administered as IV. So in different conditions, the different doses can be used, especially the equine gonadotrophin, chorionic gonadotrophin, is also having similar effects. Of course, the GnRH is one of the most commonly used hormone, as also it's called as the gonadorelin. And the pharmacological effects are very similar to that of the naturally occurring GnRH, which causes the release of FSH and LH. So buserelin is one of the very commonly used drug, especially in case of the females. And it's used in induction of ovulation and treatment of follicular cysts and anisters. Of course, the leuprolin is also one of the drug, and buserelin. Then the varieties of other, the GnRH receptor agonists are also used for the treatment of different disorders, especially in case of the males, like the ganirelix, then degarelix, and other drugs are also used. So the next hormone is adrenocorticotropic hormone in the next class.